Well, welcome everyone. I am Brighton West, and today I am introducing a new series on Blab called Video for Coaches. So, the purpose of this series, I've been doing online video for a long time, and the purpose of this series is going to be to help professional coaches, life coaches, executive coaches, health coaches, anyone who really needs to sell their personality to sell their business. Online video is a wonderful tool for that. So what I'm going to be doing on Blab, actually we're starting tomorrow officially, I'll be interviewing coaches who are using online video tools in their business. So I want to welcome, looks like we've got Dr. Bart and we've got Michael. So thank you for joining. Feel free to type in some comments or questions, specific things you're looking for in a series like this. Let me know if you're using online video. Or if you want to use online video, or if you have specific questions about online video. So let me go a little bit into the background, I guess, with my origination story. So back a few years ago, I was using online video for a web series, and the web series was pretty popular here in Portland, Oregon. That's where I'm located. If you've ever heard of Portlandia, I did a spoof of Portlandia. It was called Vancouveria. And it was about a suburb of Portland, Vancouver, Washington, which is Vancouver, USA, not Vancouver, Canada. Anyway, got a few 100,000 views on that series, and it was great. But I was getting all sorts of press for the series. But when the newspaper, when the magazine, the Portland Monthly Magazine, kind of our local magazine, decided to do a story on the series, they featured the lead actor. The lead actor, Scott's a great guy and all, but I came up with the idea. I wrote the scripts, I produced it, I directed it, I edited it, I shot some of the video for it, and did all the promotion for it. So I did all the work, but I was behind the scenes. And that was the point when I realized that, the glory is on the other side of the camera. So if you want people to know what you're doing and you want to be influential in their lives, online video is a really powerful tool, but you can't just have PowerPoint slides and things like that. And I want to go to, are you guys people who read blogs? Let me know if you read blogs. And I'm guessing most people read blogs now and again. And sometimes you find something that's really like amazing. And you're like, oh my God, that blog post was great. But do you remember who wrote it? And same thing with podcasts. If you listen to a podcast and a podcast guest comes on and, says something amazing, you're hearing their voice, you're hearing their name, you're a little more likely to remember who they are instead of just what they said. But if you use a tool like online video, people are way more likely to remember who you are because they're making a connection with you. They feel like they're in the same room, and I feel like I'm in the same room with you guys right now. And because you see them, or actually they see you. And one of the cool things about Blab is you can add people in to the Blab and actually see them too. But online video in general, be it Facebook video or Periscope or Blab, YouTube videos, they allow your audience to really feel like they're getting to know you and making that connection with you, not just your message. So I feel like that's the real power for coaches. So if you're a coach that's talking about, say, eating disorders, my friend Jen is a eating disorder coach, helps people who are struggling with eating disorders. And she is able to answer people's questions and reach that broad audience, but people remember that it's Jen and not just a message. So if they were to look for a coach that they're going to work with, either by video or over the phone, or maybe if someone finds her from her hometown, I'm not sure if she even does in-person coaching. Many coaches don't anymore these days because online coaching is effective and very, very cost effective too. But she posts videos about eating disorders on YouTube and answers people's questions on YouTube. And so when YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. It's owned by Google, and younger people especially are very likely to use YouTube as their search engine of choice. So if someone were to say, how do I cure my anorexia, or how do I, probably something, maybe not that big, but Jen would pop up as the person who has the answer to that question. And that person is going to get extreme value from Jen's answer. And if they click with her, they're going to be someone who subscribes to Jen's channel and maybe someone who becomes a client. So from Jen's standpoint, it is marketing, but it is also what is so important to so many coaches, which is to reach a broad audience and bring their message, what coaches have to offer. They want to offer that to the world, not just their one-on-one clients. And this is the beauty of how YouTube works, is you get that message out there. It's not like a TV commercial or something where you say, I'm Dr. Jen and I can fix your anorexia. Call me and I will fix it if you pay me. You're able to offer a huge amount of value for free over the internet and serve as your marketing at the same time. So I've gotten a number of clients from my YouTube videos. So I post YouTube videos every week on how to use YouTube in your business. And I've gotten a number of people that have called me that said, I found you on YouTube. I really like the way that you present yourself, the way that you talk, the energy level. I'd like to work with you directly to help me with my YouTube videos. So it's definitely something that works, and it's something that works well for coaches because what they have to sell is something that's completely over the internet. It's not location dependent, usually for most coaches, and they have a personality-based business. So it's a little less important for someone like me. I can optimize people's videos and I could, do a lot of that stuff, and they wouldn't even have to know who I am. But it's mostly people who want to have that one-on-one relationship with me where I'm teaching them how to do these things or really coaching them through how to improve their YouTube videos. Those are the folks that really want to know who I am before they give me the first call. So I also wanted to mention here, I'm not sure if you guys can hear a lot of background noise. And so just let me know down in the comments if you do hear a lot of background noise. My house is under construction right now. This is perfect timing. The week that I'm launching my Blab show, like I said, I'm launching that officially tomorrow, is the day that my roofers show up. So they'll be doing this all week. You can hear some pounding. There's definitely a generator. That noise sounds like a circular saw. So what I've done is I've relocated myself into my basement. So I've kind of created a little studio down here in my basement. I'm actually going to give you guys the quick tour of the basement. So picking this up. So all I've done is I've set a sheet of foam core here on the wall. So it's not the shiny wall. And going around the basement, this is my prop area. That's a lot of the Vancouveria props. Vancouveria was the web series that I had. And then around my basement, just your normal basement, I've got some lights hanging out here on the steps, my computer, my Blue Yeti microphone. So that's, I think, helping me really try to cut out some of that background noise because it is a directional microphone. It is facing my mouth, and so picking up sound mostly from this direction. And then just, your normal cluttered basement. Hopefully you guys didn't get too sick with that one there. Let me pop this back on here. So that's kind of where I am right now. And tomorrow I'm going to be starting the series. So let me go into what you can expect if you were to come back tomorrow. And right now you can actually go to my website and sign up for that. Or if you're on Blab, you can see that as one of my scheduled Blabs tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time or 1 p.m. Eastern time. I will be starting out with Coach Mark Mawhinney. I'm not sure if you guys know Mark. Mark is from Toronto, I think, somewhere up in Canada. So he'll probably have lots of boots and stuff like that, and ace. But Mark is a coach that coaches coaches. And Mark has a Facebook group that's got over 1,000 members now. That's really growing pretty quickly. It's a pretty new group. We can hear from Mark more about how he's using that Facebook group for his business. But Mark uses Facebook video. So that's kind of the video technology that he's chosen to use. And we're going to talk a lot with Mark about how he's using that. Is he doing that on his iPhone, or does he have a webcam? How does he choose his topics? How does he structure his videos? And what is the impact that he's seeing from using online video in his business? So once again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in as a message in the corner there, the lower right-hand corner. Love to hear from you. I'm just going to pop this share out. Give me a second here. I guess I need to be. One of the things they say about Blab is that you should have a cut and paste list of things you want to say in the middle via text. So, I'm just going to send that out via Twitter. Feel free to do that yourselves if you see the share of the link. Easier for you guys to type probably than me. But tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I will have Mark Mawhinney on here. We're going to go for about 40, 45 minutes and really talking about how Mark uses online video in his business. And like I mentioned, that is Facebook. So tomorrow there'll be two of us hosting this webinar. So it'll be a little easier for me to interact and while Mark is chatting with you guys. So some of the other guests that I've got planned, I've got someone who's going to be talking about email marketing. So I'm also going to have folks who work with coaches doing digital marketing, going a little bit broader on the people who serve coaches, a little bit broader than online video, but I'll always try to tie in online video to what they're offering. Hopefully they're using online video in their business. But I've got Albert Kaufman is coming up. I've got someone who's using YouTube, someone who's using Periscope. So there's a lot of technology out there, online video technology, that is really valuable for professional coaches. And I don't think you need to do all of them. But it would be really smart to do one of them if you're comfortable on video and if you think this is what you want to do. Coaches, the reason I chose coaches as the niche that I wanted to work with for online video, there's a couple reasons. One is that coaches have something to sell that sells really well on online video. Coaching clients would like to get to know you before they hire you. And I'm going to take you back to another example. So that's Marcia Chandour, another Canadian, and she's a coach. She deals with people who are learning how to network. So she's a networking coach. And I guess often these people feel a little bit awkward. And Marcia is kind of the queen of awkward. And she would admit that herself. She wears a lot of wigs in her videos. She's really animated, and she's, probably out there where you might say that she's strange. Sorry, I just had looked like my video might have cut out there. Hope it didn't. But anyway, Marcia's great. I met Marcia a couple years ago, and Marcia commented about how when she started using YouTube, the clients that were connecting or contacting her were people that were connecting with her. So her discovery calls were leading to more future clients than before. Prior to being on YouTube, she might, be like, Marcia, oh, I know this woman, Marcia, she is a networking coach. And maybe they went over to her blog and they said, oh, wow, this woman really knows a lot about networking. But then they get on a discovery call with her and notice that she's got a kind of a funny laugh, and she's pretty energetic, and she says strange things, and she talks like a Canadian. I personally love Marcia. I think she's great, but you can see, I've got a certain energy and a certain awkwardness to myself. And if that's not sitting so well with you, you probably have already moved on to a different Blab. But if it is sitting okay with you, you're probably still watching. So that's what happened with Marcia. The people that were kind of into that funky personality that she has, those are the people that would watch her YouTube videos, subscribe to her YouTube videos, and schedule a discovery call, and then become a client. So she was able to really make that more efficient, along with offering a lot of value to the general public out there on YouTube who is struggling with networking. So Marcia is she's positioning herself as an authority and she's helping a lot of people, and she's getting more clients. So that was just an example of YouTube video. And like I said, this, why it's so great for coaches is, you have to make that personal connection. A lot of coaching today, as I mentioned, is done over the internet, either through Skype or through phone calls. And YouTube is a great medium to connect with people around the world. YouTube is still a great place to find like a roofer, which should actually be, it's something I didn't do. I actually used Angie's List to find the roofers that are on my roof right now. For those of you who are new here, I've got roofers tearing apart my roof, which is why I'm down here in my basement. But there are tools that are best used for different things. And actually, one of the things that works really well for online video is testimonials. So if you're a local business and you've got testimonials online, those work really well on YouTube, particularly. Review of Brighton West's video services and someone's, kind of saying what their experience was. That is a great way to use online video for local business. So someone might be looking for reviews of video businesses in Portland, Oregon. And you as a local business can post video testimonials. Also, videos introducing your staff, especially if people are coming out one-on-one. Like if you're a plumber and you've got people coming into people's houses, and make them feel a lot more comfortable if they can go online and see who it is that's coming before they get there. Makes them feel much more comfortable, and can improve your business. So there are ways for local businesses to use these tools, but the tools are so much more powerful when you are kind of location independent and your clients can be anywhere. So the third thing about coaches and why I chose to help them with online video more than anyone else is coaches are usually confident, and they're ready to go on camera, and they're just positive people. It's not very often that you find a coach who's really negative and kind of brings you down. And those are the type of people that I wanted to have. When I started a business, for me, it's really about quality of life. So who do I want to interact with? I want to interact with positive people who are excited about life and excited about their business, excited about growing their business, and also probably excited about me growing my business. So it was a perfect connection for me to say, okay, coaches is where I want to focus. This stuff works for other people. Like I said, small businesses and real estate agents. I've worked with a number of real estate agents, and it works pretty well for them. Hypnotists, NLP practitioners, anyone who's in that realm of providing a service one-on-one to a client where the client really needs to know, like, and trust you before they're willing to open up their wallet and hire you. So I want to talk about a couple of the other types of video that I'll be covering on my show. So Blab is one of the things that I'll be talking about. So I'm sure I'll have some folks on here who are more Blab experts than me. I'm rather new to Blab, but that should be exciting to hear more about Blab. And if any of you guys are those experts in your field, or even if you're just successful, you don't necessarily need to be an expert, but you're successfully using online video in your practice, let me know, reach out, because I would love to have you as a guest on the show. Like I mentioned, it's going to be every Wednesday at this time. And I want to talk to people. Like I said, there's going to be someone who's going to talk about Periscope. I'm really interested to see how people are using Periscope to build their business. I've attended a seminar on how to use Periscope, and it definitely, when you go through all the steps, it seems like it should work well. It really wasn't for me. I already had YouTube. I had a one-way platform, and also just seeing the comments from people. Oh, yes. So I've got, looks like Mike is a speaker. Speakers definitely fit into this too. Slightly different, and I'll cover that in a second once I cover Periscope. Thank you for the question. But Periscope is a great tool. It allows some of that, that typing in, like Mike just said. but it doesn't allow as much connection because it doesn't have the video capability, the two-way video capability. And this is just so simple. Blab also works on your desktop, on your iPhone, on your Android. It kind of works everywhere. It's so simple. I love it, which is why I'm starting a series here. But yeah, let me, April, thank you for joining. And let me talk about speakers briefly. So I work a little bit with speakers too. If you go to my website, authenticwestfilms.com, I think I've got some speakers there in my portfolio. And video is really powerful for speakers. But what I focus on is DIY video, really showing people how to produce content often and get their name out there as an authority. So if you're a speaker and you want to place yourself as an authority, online DIY video is great. So some speakers are worried about giving away their content, and which is something I completely disagree with. I say give away all your content on the internet. I don't think you need to hold back anything, because if people find that they love your content that you're giving away for free, they're going to want to pay you to see it all properly packaged together or see you in person delivering that content. People are only able to absorb a small percentage of what you're saying. So let's take Tony Robbins, for example. He's got lots of videos online of him, talking about his, his programs and his thoughts on life. Actually, is Tony Robbins one of the guys who does the cryo chamber? Do you guys know about these, where you go in and you freeze your body, bring it down to negative 250 degrees? I actually did that just recently. I was down in LA and I was like, oh my God, I need to do this. But I believe Tony Robbins was one of the guys who started that trend. Anyway, Tony does online videos, shares his thoughts and his knowledge with everyone, but still huge number of people are buying his books. They're buying his trainings. I know there was a Tony Robbins training down in Florida this weekend, and I saw so many people, so many friends on Facebook and whatnot who are commenting from there because they saw him online. They saw that the energy that he brings, they bought into his authority, and then they went to see him live. So the point of all of that is, don't worry about being a speaker and giving away all the tips that you would present in person, because likelihood is you're going to have someone from a speakers bureau or someone who's hiring speakers who finds you online and says, I really need a speaker who can talk about X, and they're going to find you online and they're going to say, wow, this person really is an authority. I think I want to hire them as a speaker. Now, there's a second video though that speakers need, and that is a speaking reel. And that one's hard to do as a DIY. So not only do you want to have video online, like on YouTube, of solving the problem, placing yourself as an authority, but also having a speaking reel so that people can see not only are you an authority, but you're also really good at presenting to a large audience. And this is something I'm blanking on her name. I spoke to someone who owns a speakers bureau, but she talked about how those videos can be as long as possible. Like if your entire speech is up there on the internet, on YouTube, that's a good thing, because she said she will watch as long as she wants and then she'll stop watching. So don't worry about the kind of like 3-minute video or something like that. That's a great video size for YouTube if you're solving someone's problem. So I've got a few people on here actually bursting autism. I see April. I'm not sure if she's still here. So it seems like April, let us know down there in the comments if you're still around, but I'm going to use you as an example just because it seems clear what you do. So if April were to be a speaker about, autism and maybe getting people past that hump or helping people who are autistic, she could post videos online that say, what to do if your baby's just been diagnosed as autistic. And a lot of people who are experiencing that problem are probably out there on the internet searching, what to do. And then they'll see April because she's an authority figure. Now, if one of those people is then working as is going to be putting together a conference where they need a speaker on autism, they're going to see that April has a lot of views, and she's an authority figure, and she knows what she's talking about by those little 3-minute videos on YouTube. But then they're going to want to go over and look at that half-hour talk that she gave at another conference to prove that she can give that same thing on stage. That it's not something where she's really comfortable, one-on-one with a camera, but not so comfortable when she goes on stage. So yeah, a lot of this stuff works for speakers. And if you're here in Portland, Oregon, I actually do video recording for speakers, but I haven't really been traveling to do that. I'm sure you can look and find someone locally, hire a videographer that can record your speeches for you. That's just ideal. I am such a fan of iPhones, but not when you're trying to make that speaker real. It doesn't do justice to what you're putting into your speaking career. If you're doing just that 3-minute video, that's perfect. The information and your personality is most important at that point. But when hiring speakers, people want to see that you're nailing it in front of an audience. So I'm going back to list of other types of videos, and I've got a couple new people here. So just really quick, I'm going to be starting this series of videos for coaches and speakers tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m. And I'll have Mark Mawhinney as a guest. And I also want to apologize if there's a lot of noise. My house is under construction and I'm down in my basement. They're actually working directly over my studio today. So it's crazy loud inside that studio. But this series is going to be about coaches, professional coaches, life coaches, whatnot, who use online video in their business. So tomorrow is Mark Mawhinney, who uses Facebook video in his business. Really excited to have Mark. Mark is killing it. We're also going to be talking about Periscope, using Periscope in your business. We'll be talking about Facebook Live. So Mark is not using live Facebook, but he's used, and thank you for the whatever those are called, claps, hands, something. Thank you. Mark is using recorded Facebook video, which is one powerful form of video, but Facebook now has live video, and that's another form of very powerful video because people can interact. You can see who's there. It's pretty cool. And so I'm going to have someone come on who's using live video successfully and explain how they do that. What else? Snapchat. Snapchat uses video, and there's some people who are using it really effectively. I am not one of those people. Is anyone here using Snapchat for business? Just let me know down in the comments. I've played with it, but mostly it's messages with my niece and nephew, but it's pretty cool. So someone says they're doing Blab exclusively to interview coaches on specific topics. So we should definitely connect after this because I'd love to see if any of those coaches are using online video and have them over here. So thank you very much for joining. But Snapchat Gary Vaynerchuk is using it. John Lee Dumas is using it. A number of people are using it and saying how amazing it is. I haven't quite figured it out yet. Like I said, I've done it a couple times, but it's not something that's really affecting my business. But I will bring on guests who are using Snapchat effectively to grow their business. So you and me both. Other people wondering how Snapchat works, but it seems to be the new big thing, and it seems to be about posting your story. So not necessarily the origins of Snapchat was more of you post a video or a snap or something, a picture, some text, and you send it to someone and it exists for 24 hours or something like that. But now you can post a story of what you're doing all day long. And for instance, John Lee Dumas, who is a podcaster who works with entrepreneurs, he does this, and it really is a behind the scenes look at who John really is. So on his podcast, he's, pretty straightforward, pretty clean cut. And then behind the scenes, you get to really see who he is. You get to see him in the airport. You get to see kind of the maybe less glamorous side of being an entrepreneur. And really seeing that behind the scenes feeling more of a connection. And I think that's really what online video is about, is making that connection to potential clients, and so that they know, like, and trust you and become your super fans. So Cliff Ravenscraft does too. Yeah, that group of internet marketing people really have seemed, I wouldn't doubt if Pat Flynn is there, they've really gotten on the Snapchat. I don't want to call it a bandwagon because that's kind of negative, but they seem to be doing that. I see someone's asking about radio as well. So with what I'm doing only things that use online video. So I've kind of made myself a niche here. Mark Maweni, who's the guest tomorrow, he's made it big in the world of podcasting. And so there will be guests who are using audio only formats. But I'm going to be looking at video formats in my Blab series. I heard of a new one yesterday. Does anyone know this new social media form that is audio only, small clips of audio? It's kind of like Snapchat without the visuals. Anchor, there we go. Thank you very much. Anchor. I'm not quite sure how that one works. There's so many of these things. And like I said earlier, I think it's best to kind of like experiment, or at least know how they work and which one has the superpower that you need. And for me, I think Blab and YouTube are the two things that really have the superpowers that I want, which is the superpower on Blab is this interaction. So I'm starting my interview series back up. I had an interview series on YouTube, but being able to interact and have the audience be part of it live is very cool. And so once I got on Blab, I was like, okay, there we go. The interview series is coming back because this new tool is perfectly well. And someone's mentioning that Blab works really well for them. Clearly, all you guys are on Blab. I'm trying to find that, like, the rest of the people need to find out about Blab. So actually, today I'm doing a series of YouTube and Facebook videos to try to convince people to come over here tomorrow and join us then. Thank you for the follow. Yes, if you guys aren't following me, I would love it if you push the follow button somewhere on here, and also follow each other as well. Definitely, this is a community of folks who are interested in video for coaches, and I'm hoping to build this up and get more and more people interacting here. So Snapchat, Blab, Periscope. What's another one? Let's see here. Wait, I'm building a studio where I can produce video from Blab and live stream it over multiple platforms like YouTube live stream, Ustream. Okay. It'd be interesting to see, like, doing it live onto multiple platforms. I really like Blab just because it's so incredibly simple. I've tried to use YouTube Live. I've tried to use Google Hangouts, some webinar platforms, and they're all just a little more complicated than Blab. And this is, the beauty of the simplicity here is, I think, what's going to make this platform kind of excel. And as you see, if you look in the corner, it still says we're in beta version of Blab. And so it's only going to get better. So I get Wednesday is my 200 days on Blab. So very good. Hopefully, Mike, I'm going to see if I can just follow you guys right as I'm doing this. Oh yeah, I can. So I'm going to click on a few of you guys, and I'll come back and follow some of the rest of you. Oh, actually, it looks like our question here coming from Canada. Love the Canadians. But yeah, online radio stations, I'm not sure. It's not something that I have explored. And because it is audio, and I'm a video guy, I got into this 25 years ago or so when I was a lot younger, doing video. And this was pre-YouTube, doing videos with my friends. I lived in Atlanta. My friends all worked for CNN. They had access to cameras and whatnot. So we would go out and make videos, and then we actually did post them online on a video site that we made, and they were like, this big and maybe 10 frames per second. But mostly we just project them in our houses, have big parties, and show videos. But so I'm pretty much addicted to video and helping people use video. And thank you guys for the follows and the follows back. What video camera do you recommend for stations? So I am using right now the Logitech C920, and it is a great webcasting camera. And it's, it's a simple camera. It costs, I want to say, about $70 now on Amazon. And, it is a webcam. So you can see here, it's not producing a beautiful video like you would see in a DSLR. When I'm doing my YouTube videos, I'm usually using a DSLR, so I got that beautiful background and, really tight focus and things like that. But when I'm online, this is a great camera. It is HD. It's 1920. So it's a much better camera than is built into my Mac laptop. So I've just got it kind of sitting on top of that camera right now. And it is a great webcam. And there's some software that you can use to kind of adjust it, zoom and whatnot. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't on a Mac. I don't think it was meant to work with the C920. We've got a number of people who also use the C920. So if you're going to use a webcam, that's the one I suggested. Actually, it gets good audio. However, today I am using, if you can see it here, my Blue Yeti microphone. I like the Blue Yeti. I think it makes my voice sound nice and deep. There we go. Someone else using the Yeti. Yes, it's a great setup. This is a pretty simple setup. And if you haven't heard before, my house is under construction right now. So it's really loud, especially in my studio. They're on the roof of my studio. So I'm down in the basement. And I feel like the Blue Yeti is probably going to do a pretty good job of eliminating some of this background noise for you guys. I am hearing a generator and a circular saw and some pounding going on the roof, and hopefully that is pretty quiet and you're hearing mostly my voice because the Blue Yeti is a directional microphone. Okay, so I use an AT 2020. The Yeti is my backup mic, the 2020. Okay, so I'm not sure about the 2020. So that's the Audio Technica 2020. I like a lot of Audio Technica gear. Actually, I just broke my Audio Technica shotgun mic last week. And I replaced it with a Sennheiser. So I went one step up. But Audio Technica makes some great gear. Audio Technica has a great lavalier microphone. And actually, I probably should do one of those Blabs just purely on kind of technology and the gadgets and the gizmos that you can use, because there's a lot of great things that make it a lot easier. And one of those gadgets and gizmos could be just this little white piece of foam core that's behind me, which makes a great background. I wish I were further away, but literally I am crammed between my stairs. This laptop is on step number 4 in my basement. And my Blue Yeti is on step number 3, and my lights are set up on step number 6. So it's a pretty simple setup, and all I've got is I have taped a sheet of foam core to the wall behind me, and now this is my studio. So hopefully it's sounding good. It's pretty janky. I'm actually going to post a picture of that up on Facebook just because it's a simple solution here. And thanks again for the slappy hands or whatever you call them. What do you call those things? Someone here who's used Blab more than me, tell me what that's specifically called, if you know. Props. There we go. Yes, it's props. Very good. Thank you very much. I'm going to assume your name is CJ. So thank you very much. So visual touch with no longer. Oh, okay. So adding visuals to a radio station is not something I know a lot about. I think it's a great idea because there are visuals going on, and actually, if you look at some of the just the visuals of seeing the disc jockeys, they're not necessarily the most pretty people in the world, but usually they're pretty expressive, I guess would be the word. So I think there's a lot of ability there. I just don't know the technology of how digital radio stations work and how how you can incorporate video. So we might be able to work together a little bit. But yeah, we talked a little bit about podcasts. There are video podcasts, so I'm sure I'll find someone to be able to talk a little bit about video podcasts. I know some people who are doing that, and anyone who's using video in their coaching practice or serves coaches, get in touch with me. I'd love to have you on this series. It's going to be once a week on Wednesdays. But video podcasts are much more rare. People are used to listening to audio on a a podcast where they're driving or whatnot, but it looks like we've got a podcaster that uses video. So is that a video podcast that actually where you're uploading the video and someone can go into iTunes and watch the video? Let me know, CJ, down in the comments. And we got video blogs. So yeah, they can watch that. So maybe we'll have you on for the video podcasts here, because it is a different format. Like I said, there's very many things that you can do with online video. You probably shouldn't do them all, or you'd spend all your time just making online videos and none of your time helping clients. But find the ones that are going to work best for you. And I will have over the series here people who are specializing and who are winning with different formats. Podcast from Blab. Oh no, you podcast from Blab on Wednesday at this time at 10 a.m. Maybe we can see. Can you do a joint here? Maybe we can sort of set up cameras and do this in two different ways at the same time. So I think there's some possibilities. But I just I want to keep my Blab to about 45 minutes. That's my original plan. So we're going to be wrapping up here momentarily. But once again, I just want to wrap up to say that this is just the beginning. Tomorrow is the official launch of Video for Coaches, the Blab for video for coaches who want to use video to extend their practice beyond one-to-one coaching. Thank you guys all for joining. And yeah, CJ, let's definitely chat after I stop the record button. But I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing many of you back here tomorrow with Mark Mawhinney. He's a coach who uses Facebook video in his practice. He also is building a great Facebook group, so I'm sure he'll talk about that. And he has a podcast, so I'm sure he'll touch on that too. Well, once again, thank you for the props, and we'll see you all tomorrow.